Hey there, I'm Rob. Welcome back to Voice of the Carrot. For those of us who live in the cooler regions of the planet, winter is a time when we have to pause most of our gardening activities. So we have to find other fun things to do with our time. One of those fun activities we get to do is shovel snow. I've got 3 great tips to help you clear your snow away faster. Now, the ultimate tool for clearing snow is a snowblower, but you may not have access to a snowblower, and sometimes a snowblower is just not the right tool for the job. Like when there's too little snow to bother with getting the power monster out, or the snow may be so deep and wet that even the power monster can't chew through the white stuff. So, these 3 tips center around things besides a snowblower, but I will have something more to say later about a snowblower. Let's get to it. Here's a picture of the 3 tips. I know it looks like 2, but it's 3, and how will become clearer in a moment. Tip number 1, avoid the one-shovel-fits-all mentality. For way too many years, I had a very narrow idea about my snow shoveling equipment. I thought I should find one good shovel and use it for everything. And that's what I did. I used a plastic grain shovel like this. It was pretty good for pushing snow, and it was pretty good for lifting and throwing snow, but it didn't excel at anything. Then a few years ago, I had an aha moment. It happened when I saw my neighbor using a plow-style shovel. He was shoving around lots of snow very quickly. Suddenly, I knew I had to give one of those bad boys a try. That was the moment that my mental box broke wide open. Why had I insisted on using only one kind of shovel? So, don't be afraid to use more than one kind of shovel. Different styles of shovels have different advantages, so why not take advantage of them? Additionally, don't be afraid to try using some unconventional equipment. For example, I don't own a snowblower. I don't really have a good place to store one, and where I live, you only really need one a few times a year. So when the snow gets deep, what do I use? I use a wheelbarrow. Yeah. Believe it or not, something sort of like this. My neighbors probably laugh at me, but it's surprisingly efficient if you have to move snow out from an area where you can't simply pile it or throw it. Tip number 2, use a plow-style shovel, more commonly known as a snow pusher. I remember when I was a kid, I tried using one of those, and I hated it. The shovels at that time usually had a steel bowl, I guess it's called. So it was heavy, and I could not throw snow with it, so I decided they were pretty useless. But like I mentioned earlier, when I saw my neighbor using one, I did a double take. Watching him shove snow out of the way was mind-bending. A plow shovel is great for light to moderate accumulation of snow. You can clear a big area in minutes, and if you angle it while you push, most of the snow will be pushed sideways as you go. But a plow shovel is pretty terrible for throwing snow, and it has some other limits. It bogs down quickly when the snow is too deep or too wet. Depending on how wet the snow is, it will only work for a maximum depth of around maybe 5 inches, maybe 8 if you're a bit stronger than I am. There's some interesting options with plow shovels. Some of them have wheels. That's the style my neighbor has, but I opted to buy one without. I didn't think the wheels were worth the extra cost. Then there are different widths. I like the 36-inch wide blade. It's big enough to move a lot of snow while still fitting easily on my sidewalk. And it's not so big that I have trouble using it. This last point is especially important for me. I'm a pretty small guy. You know, as a kid when we picked teams, I was the kid who cheered when I didn't get picked last because I got picked second to last. Woohoo! By the way, this funny-looking handle is great. If you can find a plow shovel with one, I highly recommend it. It makes it very easy to stand behind the shovel, grab the handle with both hands, and push hard. Tip number 3. Use a two-handled shovel. So you've probably seen a shovel that looks like this. I had never tried one and always thought they looked really awkward to use. But then, a couple seasons ago, I had an idea. I really wanted a way to lift snow with less effort. How would it work, I wondered, if I made my own two-handled shovel? For the second handle, I took a piece of 1/2 inch PVC pipe. Of course, a piece of 3/4 inch dowel would have worked too. Then I just tied a section of paracord around the pipe, making sure it was well secured. I then tied the other end to the original shovel handle near the bowl. I made sure to wrap the cord a few times around the handle, just to keep the cord from sliding up and down. I had to play with the cord length a bit to get a comfortable size for my height. Well, let me tell you, this has been a game changer. If I could only have one shovel, this would be it. The second handle makes it so much easier to lift snow and to throw it. Whoop! Even with the misfire, it's a huge advantage. Also, I don't have to bend over so much, so there's less risk of injuring my back. I really think you might want to give a two-handled shovel a try. If you make your own like I did, it's not going to cost you much money to try it out. And you basically get two shovels in one. Roll up the second handle, and you've got a regular shovel. Just be prepared that this two-handled setup takes a little getting used to. Don't be surprised if at first it feels a bit awkward. Give yourself a chance to get used to it. I think you'll become a believer. If you give this a try, let me know in the comments below whether or not you like it. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, I have something else to mention about snowblowers. When you've got a lot of snow, nothing beats the performance of a quality snowblower, so be sure to make use of one. Here's my suggestion. Make friends with the neighbor who has the beefiest snowblower on the block. Do everything you can to stay on their good side. Always give a friendly wave when you see them, rave about how great their lawn always looks, and give them things, like home-baked pies or some beans or squash from your garden. This will give you free access to a snowblower that you do not even have to store or maintain. And if you play your cards just right, your neighbor will even end up clearing your snow for you, so you won't even have to touch the blower. Of course, I'm kidding. Or am I? Let's wrap this all up. If you want to clear snow from your driveway and walks faster, remember 3 things. Avoid the one-shovel-fits-all mindset. Use a plow shovel for light or moderate snow accumulation. And add a simple rope handle to your regular shovel to power up your snow clearing performance. Hey there! Thanks for watching this video. If you found it helpful, or maybe thought-provoking, please give it a thumbs up. Please also subscribe to my channel, Voice of the Carrot. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks again.